Well, hello, everyone. My name's Cameron King. I'm CEO and ambassador for Certified American Grown, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today. We've got a very special guest for our Farmer Friday series. Miss Rita Jo Schultz is with us from Alaska Perfect Peony. This is a fantastic series, Farmer Fridays, that we're doing to highlight certified American grown cut flower and foliage farmers, and we really appreciate you joining us today. How are you, Rita Jo?
Gosh, I'm doing great. I'm out here in the greenhouse and it's nice and it's getting warmer. Yesterday we had over 60 degrees, which is the warmest day since last August. So we're kind of celebrating things here. We've had a really, really cold spring. We're still worried about our fields because there was a lot of ice last fall. So we're still waiting for stuff to come up.
Yeah. Well, whereabouts in Alaska are you so that folks know?
Okay, well, I'm on the Kachemak Bay, which is the bottom of the Kenai Peninsula. We're about a mile from the Kilcher Farm, which is the last frontier. A lot of people relate to that reality show. There's about 18 reality shows in Alaska. So,
Well, it's a beautiful part of the world, that's for sure, and one that I think a lot of times people don't associate with flower farming and cut flower farming. Tell us a little bit about Alaska Perfect Peony, if you don't mind.
well, I want to say something before I really get into that and say that people say, well, where'd you get the nerve to do this or to do that or whatever, Well, when we first came to Alaska about 55 years ago, we lived in the one-room log cabin, that story with no water, no electricity, four little kids. The youngest one was a year old, turned a year old on the trip up here. So when you live like that for a while, a lot of other things become pretty easy to overcome or to accept. So again, that's my response when people say, well, how could you do that? Well, that was nothing compared to chopping out water or chopping out ice for water to give the kids a bath, So it's all downhill from there, we're at the top right now. But starting in flowers, I had been in the corporate world for all my adult life. And I got tired of it. So I was home one summer. I did a lot of traveling, but I was home one summer, and all summer long I played in my own gardens. And all summer long I thought, well, what could I do, with the rest of my life? And I knew the things I didn't want to do. I didn't want to work for somebody else. I didn't want employees. Well, that didn't work out. And I didn't want anything that was like a year-round season, or I didn't want anything that was a 24-hour job like a hotel or a restaurant, things I'd been involved in. And I kept trying to find plants to put in my garden, but I wanted some perennials and I couldn't find any. So I went to the people around town that had nice big gardens. I said, well, where did you get these perennials? And they said, well, we ordered them from the lower 48, which is what we call you guys down there, or the lower 48 or outside. And so I ordered some and they were just terrible when I got them. First of all, it was very expensive. It was just terrible. I thought, well, you know what? I think maybe I'll just grow flowers for sale. And so I did. And my goal was to learn how to grow 100 varieties that would be hardy in Alaska. So I called my company Alaska Hardy and I got it trademarked. And by the time I quit 13 years later, I had 500 varieties of trees, shrubs, roses, and those kind of things, that were hardy for Alaska. Sure. But because I was already in that industry, I was involved with the university with trials and things like that. One of the professors up there, Dr. Pat Holloway, who was in charge of horticulture, we were having lunch one day and she said, this is in Fairbanks, and she said, we've discovered that peonies in Alaska mature when they aren't available anywhere else in the world. I think you should start a peony farm. I said, oh, okay. So I ordered 2,500 roots. And I thought, well, since I had already been growing peonies in pots for sale, for my greenhouse, that this would be a piece of cake. Well, let me tell you, farming is totally different. Made every mistake known to mankind. That's why I blog. I blog a lot so that people won't make the same mistakes I made. And I was happy, though, with my 2,500 peonies and my greenhouse until my son, who lives on the farm, we have about 25 acres here, 27, something like that. Anyway, he came up and he said, I'm kind of interested in this peony thing, Mom. And I thought, wow,
You weren't expecting that one?
No, because he and his dad have been in construction forever, and my husband had retired. And so I thought, okay, so now we'll ramp it up. So we have a heck of a lot more than 2,500 peonies anymore.
Sure.
And he's totally in charge of the fields, and then I just take care of the marketing and packaging and shipping and that kind of thing. So it's been a real blessing for me, Cameron, really, because every time I get a little tired about something, I think, oh no, wait, this is going to be the family. This is family, and it spurs you right on, gives you the energy to complete whatever you're trying to do.
Sure. Well, and I think that's a really cool thing to emphasize and really share is that it is more than a business; it's family, and
Mhm.
and to have that multi generational aspect is really fantastic. So, thinking about peonies, before you had put them in the ground, were they a flower that you enjoyed or a flower that you loved, or was this a newfound passion for you?
I am a passionate person, and I
Yeah.
immerse myself in whatever I decide I'm going to do, which is exactly what happened with peonies. I started off thinking, economically, and now, I live and breathe them. As you can see, I'm always in you can see my sweat, my blouse, it's got a peony on it,
Right.
everything I do. I told Cameron when we were talking earlier, I think I'll do my interview like this, Cameron, because while we have no peonies in our fields, they're just barely coming up. In the greenhouses, we grow a couple of varieties for marketing because, for anybody that does marketing, you can't wait till the product's ready. You got to have pre-marketing, and to have pre-marketing, you got to have the plant, blah, blah, blah. So,
Right.
so these are out of the greenhouse. I have a few here I cut this morning um, that are going up to, these are all going up to Anchorage to the Alaska Airlines lounge for
Fantastic.
people that have for the Memorial Day weekend. So I was pretty excited that we just started cutting them yesterday. It was just perfect timing. So
Sure. So walk us through a little bit about that if you wouldn't mind. What's happening in the fields right now? You said that the weather's getting warmer and it's been a cold spring, early spring so far. So what's happening out in the field?
well, right now, the only thing we're doing is we're actually doing field maintenance, which includes pre-emergence and weeding and keeping the fields clean. We keep our fields really, really clean. That keeps the bugs down, and we're more of a niche peony farm.
Okay.
We have better varieties, and We're very careful about our growth, so we're not just the everyday, um, a volume grower. We're not a volume grower. We're a niche grower. So,
Well, and you've inspired a lot of other farmers up there in Alaska and around the country. I mean, you mentioned your blog and everything. How many folks are farming up in Alaska now?
we have about 200 farms now. Some of those are pretty small, but when I would be doing my talks around, I would tell people this is an ideal thing for mom and dad, mom and pop, for just put out 3,500 peonies and you could handle it by yourself. And
Right.
one interesting story was when I first started selling. I started selling roots because I couldn't find roots anywhere. So I found a company that had them out of Holland, so I started selling them so that the Alaska people could have them, which has turned out to be a nice business. But this mom and her son, who at that time was in the 7th grade, came to one of my talks, and they told me that they were going to do this for his college money. And he's in college now, and he writes to me and tells me, how their farm helped support him to get into college. So those
Right.
kind of things are pretty rewarding.
Absolutely. Well, and your reach and expanse goes far beyond just those in Alaska that you have inspired and led and worked with, and it's pretty amazing. We have the good fortune. Rita Joe is the chair of the board for Certified American Grown, and you have inspired folks around the world. You were telling me that you're headed to South Africa here soon, and that's pretty amazing to have an impact on families and lives in multiple places. What inspired you to become involved with Certified American Grown?
Um, well, because I started off looking for hardy perennials, that got me into looking in America because they couldn't find anything anyplace. And so I just kept on with that theme that America should be at the top of the chain for horticulture. We really should be, and we're not. So I was asked by Casey, I think it was Casey was in, and he told me they were going to start this certified American grown, and would I be interested in it because I was so active in the flower industry, and so I got involved. And since then, I have learned so much, Cameron, about farming and about some of the struggles of some of the other farms, around. I probably visit a couple hundred farms now. And I just see where we can do so much for those farmers and so much for, the next generation.
Absolutely. Well, and you've been active in the floral and cut flower and foliage community, but you've been a lot more active than that too. You've become an advocate and a known entity in governmental circles. Tell us
I
why you
didn't,
did that.
yeah, I didn't set out to do that. I'm not a political person, and I don't like history, and so I thought, why are they encouraging me? I'm not the right person for this job. But once you go to Washington, D.C., and once you're in the halls and you see all that, and even if you don't like history, you just kind of get immersed in it like I do with everything else. And because Alaska's country's large, but we're small, and so you get to know your leaders, you get to know them personally, you get to know family, and so you do get immersed in the whole situation. And it's pretty flattering to be recognized in Washington, D.C. That's a pretty big deal. And so I'm now enjoying it. I didn't start off enjoying it. Start off thinking, gosh, dang it, one more thing, but now I really do enjoy it.
Good.
Of course,
Good.
we know that's how we get what we need. We got to start there, so.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it's a testament to your tenacity, but also your caring and passionate nature that really develops those relationships. So, everybody that I've talked to has a sincere fondness for you, Rita Jo. So I don't think
Oh, well,
it's
thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. I think you definitely need to hang your hat on that. So going back to the farm, thinking about the growth and evolution of things, what do you see for the future of American grown flowers and foliage farmers?
Well, I think that when we gather together and we talk, when we're out to dinner or having a cup of coffee or whatever, and we talk about our issues, and you find out that your person sitting across from you has those same issues, maybe not the same farming, maybe they're not farming what you're farming, but they have the same issues, and we all become closer, and it makes it easier for us to fight the battle. Then it makes it easier for us to all say, well, yeah, that's exactly what happened to me, and
Sure.
so you learn from each other how to do things, and then you become stronger. And when you become stronger, then you become leaders, and then that's when you can go and talk to the people that make the decisions. And I think that's what's happening with Certified American Grown right now. With your leadership, I think I think there's no limit to how far we're going to be able to go. We've already seen, you've just been on for a short term, but we've already seen some really terrific achievements, including today, the new website is being launched. So I guess I'm not supposed to say that yet because that's tomorrow, but when this airs, it'll be on. So
That's true. That's true. And it'll be exciting to share with the world the new AmericanGrownFlowers.org website. So, thinking about that sense of community, and even bigger than just the farming community, what would you say to florists and designers and consumers about the importance of supporting American grown flowers and foliage farmers?
well, there's a big long list. You can go from the environmental aspect of it, you can start there, or you can start with supporting the people in your community. Dollar goes around and around, economics. And there's just no end to the reasons why you should be supporting American grown farmers.
I would agree with that. I think a lot of times people don't realize that the majority of our cut flowers and foliage are imported. And so when we can support our homegrown farmers and their families and their teams and employees and their communities, it's pretty spectacular, the impact that we can all have collectively. So kind of thinking,
go ahead.
go ahead. I
I was
was
going
going
to
to say,
say, I was going to share one. Yeah, sorry. I was going to share one other thing for you. This shirt that I have on today, I don't know if you could see the whole thing, but it's
sure,
peonies on Pioneer, Alaska. You know, it's
right,
talking about sharing. Again, I get kind of passionate about these things. So I wanted the people in Homer, Alaska, which is where I've lived forever, to see these peonies and to love them like I do. So a few years back, it actually started in 2013, I started knocking on the doors of businesses along the main street. And I said, would you mind if I put a few peonies out here in front of your property? And of course they thought I was crazy, but they thought that, you know, you don't have to do anything. There's no cost involved. You don't have to take care of them. I'll come back, take care of them. Right now, 2021, we're having our second Peony Festival here in Homer in July. It starts July 9th, and it's for 2 weekends. So it's July 9th through 24th, I think it is. And Homer has now been designated as the city of peonies. And there isn't anybody hardly in Homer, Alaska that doesn't know what a peony is. So
sure.
that's the way you share. That's the way you get noticed. You know.
Well, and I was just going to ask you exactly about that. So we were on the same wavelength there because it really is about supporting and sharing in the community and sharing the beauty that you and your fellow farmers are growing in their fields and greenhouses around the country. It's something that really enhances each one of our lives on the day to day, and I think it's pretty spectacular the contributions that you're making to people. So the
Well, you know, during continue on that for just a second, Cameron, if I can. During COVID, you know, almost every farmer contributed their flowers to some occasion, contributed them to some occasion to help people get through COVID.
right,
You know, we had thousands and thousands of flowers that were given to institutions and people just
right.
everywhere.
Oh, I remember my wife. My wife is a nurse, and she was working in the COVID ICU last year. And I remember her coming home with a bouquet of flowers in tears at how much it meant to her. So
Yeah.
those contributions are so powerful and such an important piece of making people feel good and bringing comfort and happiness in challenging times, but also in celebratory times and in everyday life. I think that's part of the beauty of flowers.
You
So
know,
where
you said it made her feel good. It made the farmer feel good too.
that's
You
true.
know,
I'm
yeah.
sure. I'm sure. So when your peonies come up, how can people find them? How can they purchase peonies from Alaska Perfect?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Well, we have a website, alaskaperfectpeony.com,
Okay,
and you can order through the website. We've got an online site for our stems and for roots. Plus, if you are a larger girl or larger need, we do personalize. We have lots of different programs for people that anywhere from 20 stems to many thousands of stems. So we'd
fantastic.
love to talk to them. And we have a person that just takes care of make sure that you get what you need.
Great. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Rita Jo, I really appreciate the time today and want to give you the opportunity if there's anything else that you might like to share with our viewers and any ideas that you might like to convey. Want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do that.
Well, I just want to say that farming flowers keeps you young. I'm an old person, but I feel like I'm young, you know, and my health is phenomenal because I'm out here in the sunshine and loving the flowers and being with people that love the flowers. So your whole makeup is wonderful.
Good, good. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for all that you do. Not only for those of us who enjoy and love flowers, but for our cut flower and foliage community, and for your ongoing support and leadership, and for sharing your story today. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Rita
Well,
Jo.
thank you. My pleasure. So we should have this in the end so they all know what a peony is.
That's right. It's gorgeous. So thanks so much. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody,
Cameron.
for watching. Really appreciate you joining in on Farmer Fridays with Certified American Grown.